Good morning, everyone. In the last class, we have seen what is a thread and what is multi-threading, and we have created one thread using thread class. So today we'll be covering how to create, what are the different ways to create the threads, and we will see some properties associated with your threads also. So this is the same example which we have seen in the last class. So in the earlier class, we have written here extends thread. Right, this was the program in the last class. Just I'll run this program once. Right, so this was the output. As I said you, there is a concurrent execution of the programs. There was a concurrent execution of the program. So what was the uh, general logic under here? Main is already a thread, then there is one more thread called as your A, and then another thread called as your B. So there are three threads which are running. So main thread will create the instances of these two threads, and it will call your start method. So once the start method is created, right, okay. Once start method is called, by default, the start method will invoke your run method also, right? So run will actually consist of the action part of your thread. So there are three threads running here. One is your main thread, one is your class A, and one is your class B. So main will be running, A will be running, and B will be running. The output, the possible outputs may be A, main will start your A can execute some partly your this particular run method, that is it can print maybe one time, two times, or it can execute. There are cases like it can execute 15 times your hello A also. Then the control again goes back to your main function. The main function will start your B, and again it depends upon the processor time, as it is threads. Your B also can print your hello B for once, for twice, or complete 15 times, or it can execute, right, or it can execute up to its whole and then it can stop. It can be the either way. But we have seen the outputs like A is executed for once, again it comes back to your B, B will be executed for some time, and again the control goes back to your A and B, and further everything will be reached to its terminated state. So now we'll be seeing another way of creating your threads. This is the simple way. Class A extends thread. That's it. Your A is a thread now. Whatever the properties of your thread, whatever the properties a thread is associated, will by default apply to your A also, because it is extending. Similarly for your class B also, whatever the properties are associated with your thread will by default apply now to your class B also. So for example, you can see here, if I remove your extends thread here, observe here, immediately you can see that there is an error. What is happening here? I have removed extends thread. When there is no extends thread, when my class A is not a thread, then there is no question that it can call the start method. It will be undefined. Now, what does that mean? Your thread is actually associated with your start method. That is the reason when I remove your extends thread, then it is raising an error. You can see that there is an error here. There is no meaning for your start now. If it is a normal class, then there is no start. What is your start? Start will invoke your run method. What is your start and run associated with? They are associated with your thread. That is the reason. Now when I am writing extended, you can see that now A1 dot start and B1 dot start are defined properly. Right. So just I'll repeat here. Whatever class you are writing here should extend your thread. You will be having basically a run method, the actual execution part. Now I am taking one more class B, which is also extending thread, and you are having one more run method here. What is the usual way? Write your extends thread. In the main method, create an instance of this class A and directly call instance.start. Start will invoke the run method. Start will invoke the run method. It will only invoke. It will not make sure that this is executed, because meanwhile again another thread can come into the picture and that thread can take the control also. That is what exactly we have seen in the last class. Now we will see the second way of creating your threads. What are the different ways of creating the thread? What are the different ways of creating the thread? Okay, just I'll write here. The first one is extending thread class. What is the second one? Implementing runnable interface. These two are the ways of creating your threads. So once for extending the thread class, what you will be doing? Class A extends thread. Thread is a class. Write run method into your class. Then in the main function, you will be creating an instance of your class and you will be calling the start method. Start method will invoke your run method. Start method will invoke your run method. Now we are seeing the second way of implementing the runnable interface. That is your thread, the second way of creating your threads. So we'll directly see the program itself. So as I said, it is implementing a runnable interface. So right here, implements runnable. Right. When I'm writing class A implements runnable, the immediate change you can see that there's an error here. A1.start is undefined again. Right. Now let this be as it is. So that in a single program, you can see that I have created one class A which is implementing runnable and another class which is extending thread. So now what will happen? What is the change you need to do? See, earlier or here it is your thread class, right? You know the difference between your class as well as an interface, right? Class as well as an interface. So when I write here implements, runnable is an interface here. If it was a class, you were writing it as your extends thread class, right? So now what is the change as far as the program is concerned is when you are writing a runnable interface, again explicitly, you will be creating a thread object thread t equal to new thread of pass this particular instance into your thread class, right? Pass this instance into your thread class and then you can directly write t dot start. Right now you can see there is no error. So what is the change we have done? The second way of implementing your threads is through your implement runnable interface. Runnable is an interface. So you know what is the thread and what is your class and what is your interface, right? We have seen many examples in the last units about your interfaces as well as your threads. So now your A is actually associated with your which it is implementing your runnable interface. So what you need to do, you will be having your A1, which is an instance, and you will be creating an instance of your thread and pass this A1 into your thread. Pass this A1 into your thread. Right? My B it doesn't have anything. My B is as it is, B1, and you are calling your B1 dot start. So here A1 dot start instead of your A1 dot start, you can call your T dot start. Right, again the program, the aim of the program is same, still it is concurrent execution only thing is there are two ways of doing this one. Either you can extend your thread class or you can implement your runnable interface also. Now you can see I have run the program. Hello A 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 times it is executed. Then the control is passed to your hello B. Hello B is executed to the complete, that is complete 15 times, and the remaining again hello E is executed for some part of the time, right? So this is your concurrent execution. So now I'll repeat. Extends thread, what you will be doing, create an instance of your class B and call the instant.start method. Simple. That start method will invoke your run method. It's not executing your run method, it will invoke your run method. Now, next one, if it is implementing your runnable interface, what you will be doing, create an instance of your A, as here, then create an instance of your thread and pass the instance of your A1 into your thread constructor, right? Thread T equal to new thread of A1. So this is how you need to do. Thread T, that is an instance of your thread, new thread of, I am passing your A1 into your thread constructor. Then I can write T dot start. Now after this, once this is done, it is one and the same, right? So you are how many threads you are having? I am having a main thread, I am having your A thread, I am having your B thread, 3 threads. Parallel execution you can see here, right? So the underlying concept is not changed, still it is your concurrent programming, only this is another way of creating your threads. Now, right, I think your creating your threads is simple. This alone, this single example you can take, and here you are having both the things. One is through thread extension and one is through your runnable interface implementation. Now we'll go for the property of your thread. One of the important property of the thread called as your get name and set name. Right. Now this program you can consider like it can even print what are the current threads running. You can even get the name of the threads which are running. Okay, so we'll start with this. I'm having one class which is implementing the runnable interface, which implements runnable interface, and I'm having the run method. So what does this do? It is giving you some two statements like inside this particular method, and I'm writing one more statement. We'll come back to this point. Now I'm having one more class which is extending your thread class. So one more class which is extending your thread class. In this particular class, there is also a main function. It is possible, right? The class in which your main method is lying also can extend a thread. No problem in this. Main is itself a thread. So now we are writing thr constructor. This name and the file name should be same. The basic constraint in your Java. Public class thr constructor extends thread. So I am making this is also a thread. So associated with this, I am having a run method. And this run method, it is just printing one statement inside run method in the main class. Inside run method in the main class. Now, start with your main. The program execution begins with your main. Program execution begins with your main. So what is the first statement here? What is the first statement you are writing here? System.out.println thread.current thread.getName. Right. Now see here. Thread is your class. I am writing thread.current thread. Current thread will always imply the thread which is running currently. Now I said you that main is your thread. Main is already a thread which is by default a thread. So now only main has started. It didn't even invoke the other two threads. There is only one thread which is running, and obviously the current thread will be main. If I am going to the run method of this and I am writing current thread, then obviously the current thread will be your A12 thread. If I go to this particular run and if I am writing here current thread, the same statement if I write here like thread.current thread, then that will be this particular threads. Current thread will always give you the thread which is actually under execution, currently under execution. So now I am writing system.out.println thread.current thread.getName. GetName is your method. GetName means, see, though you can set the name for a thread in Java, or by default the system will generate some name. So that is what we are checking here. So I am writing thread.current thread. What is your current thread now? Main. So now it should return the name of your main. If at all it is, whether it is taking some other name you need to check, or whether it is giving your directly main you need to check. Next one, I am creating an instance of your thr constructor t1 and I'm calling t1.start. Now where does your control go, or what does this ensure? T1.start will ensure that your run method is invoked. Run method is invoked. I'm repeatedly telling it is invoked but not executed. There is a small, there is some important point here. See, t1.start will invoke your run method. But before it is jumping and executing these two statements, there is a chance like because they are threads, the control may come back to your main function and it can execute this particular part also. Right? What is this now? It is a part of your main thread. So when I'm telling t1.start, remember that your run method is invoked. Whenever I'm calling start, by default, your run method is invoked. But before your control, before your control jumps here and it is actually executing these two statements, there may be the chance, like there may be a chance like your again the control can come back and execute this statement also. What is this statement in which it is? It is in your main thread. So because my main and these are executing parallelly, it can always happen. Right? Now you are having system.println t1.getName. I am writing now t1. What is your t1? This thr constructors instance. So now when I am printing t1.getName, I want to print the name of your t1 thread. T1.getName, no current thread and all. I'm just writing t1.getName. I can write thread dot current thread dot get name, or I can write t1 dot get name also. Now next I am creating an instance of A12A, right? So T1, I want to print the name of your T1. So directly I can give T1 dot get name. If you want the current thread, see this is important because at any point of time, if at all you want to know what is a thread under execution, you can use your current thread also. Otherwise, I can only if your aim is for printing the get name, directly you can use d1 dot get name also. So now next I am creating an instance of your A12, which is your runnable, and I am calling this start. Again, what will happen? Start will make sure that it will invoke your run method, but before these two statements are executed, it can come back and it can even execute your main method also. So in the main method, what I am writing set name of this particular thread, that is your T thread. What is T thread? That is your A12 thread as ABCDF. I am setting the name. Even I can set the name also. I can get the name or I can set the name also. So now here I am printing T dot get name. So what you are expecting here is the name of your main thread, the name of your T1 thread, and when you have set whether you can set the name, and if at all you have set the name, what is the name of your T. So these three names, and apart from that, whenever your this thr constructor is executed, it goes to the run method and this statement should be printed, right? And again it should go here, and these two statements also needs to be printed. Now just for a glance, we will be seeing what is the execution and how the execution is. First it starts with your main. This statement will be printed definitely. This statement will be printed first. Thread dot current thread dot get name, that is the main method's name will be printed. Next I am creating uh, an instance of your thr constructor, this one, and I'm calling start, so it goes to the run. There may be the chances like this statement is executed, this inside run method in the main class may be executed, or there may be a chance like this has invoked the run method and it comes back and this statement may also be executed. So if this statement is executed, what it should give you? It should give the name associated with your T1, the default name associated with your T1. Now, coming back here, you are creating an instance of your A12 and you are calling t.start. So what does it do? It will invoke your run method. Now, if it is execute, it can execute these two statements, or it can come back and it can execute your main method also, right? So in the main method, you are setting the name as ABCDF and you are printing your t.get name. Right now, once you see the execution, I'll explain this. Right now, see here. The first statement, what is the name of your main thread now? Just main, no thread and all. Directly the default name associated with your main is main only. Main is a thread. That is the reason current thread, when you are writing, you got main as the answer. Next one, I am creating T1, and what did I tell you? T1 dot start will make sure that your run method is invoked, right? If run method is invoked and if it is executed, you should get first inside run method in the main class. This should be the second statement. But is this the second statement? No. What happened? It came here. The control uh, the control is here now, and it is printing t1 dot get name. What is your t1 dot get name? Name associated with your t1. What is the name associated with your t1? Thread hyphen 0. So you are having 2 points to remember here. The first one is t1 dot start. When you have called, it is invoking the run method. It is invoking the run method here, right? And there may be the chance like this statement is executed, or there may be another chance like it can, before this is executed, it can come back to the main, because it always happens because it is a thread. So this statement is executed. There are two chances: either this statement can be executed or this statement can be executed. At one run you may get this one executed first, and the other run you can you may get this statement executed first also. So system.out.println t1.get name. What is the name of t1? You didn't set any name. So what is the default name? It is taking thread 0. After main, whatever the first thread it creates, the default name of that thread will be thread hyphen 0. Next one more thread will be thread hyphen 1, thread hyphen 2, and so on. If you didn't set. But if you have set, then that particular statement will be taken. Now you can observe here that for the next one, t.start, again see here, t.start, what happens? Your run method will be invoked. These two statements can be executed, or before that it can come back and it can execute your main method also, right? Now we stopped here. T1.getName is printed. What is your T1.getName? Thread 0, right? Now what happened? It again went back and it is printing inside run method in the main class. Means what is happening? Main and the control is transferred between this main as well as THR constructor, right? Now again after this run is done, then it comes back and it has started your T.start. So this run method is called, right? Now again there are two chances, like this can be executed on the whole and it come back, or it can directly execute this and it can go back and execute another thread also. Now what is the next statement you got? See here, set name abcdef is done, then it is printing t.getName. So this is not default value, you have set the name of your t, that is your thread 2. What is the name of your thread 2? abcdef. So you are printing it as abcdef, right? Now it goes back here and it is printing inside run method. And what is the current thread here? When it is clearly coming to A12 run method, then the current thread will be A12 only. What is your A12? A. What is the name you have given for your T? It is ABCDF. So what it will be printing? Inside run method in the A class and inside A12, the name of this is ABCDEF, right? Now, one thing we will be seeing here is, consider that I have removed this statement. I have commented this statement. Now, I didn't set any name. What should be the name now? Similar to this thread 0, now you need to get, instead of ABCDF, you need to get it as thread -1. Right, now you can see. Because you have removed the set name, now it has given the name as thread -1. Right? So this is one property, the method of your thread. First one you need to remember is current thread will always consider the thread under execution. The current thread which is under execution. Further, we have seen what is your get name as well as set name. You can even set the name of your thread and you can get the default name of your thread also. If you have set also, you can get the set value of your thread also. And one more important point to note here is how the concurrent execution is happening. The T1.start will only make sure that your T1.run is invoked. And after that, again, because of concurrent execution, your main can switch on and main can execute its part, and then again it can go back and it can print here also. In this case, the same thing. T1.start has made sure that run method is invoked, but this statement is not executed. Instead, your main method is executed. So this statement was printed first, right? Similarly, and after this statement, again it went back, it printed this statement. Now this is done. Now it comes back, it calls the run method of this, and before these two statements are executed, it came back to the main and it printed the get name of the second thread, and after that it went back and again it executed these two statements. Clear with this? You can see one more run also. Right, one more run also you can see. The only thing is, observe that it is your main and the first thread will be thread -0, next thread will be thread -1, and it keeps. Suppose consider I am creating one more thread, what will be the default name of that? Thread -2. One more will be thread -3 and so on. So this is one of the important property of your threads.